there was a point where Young Buck was making it his business to go out and align himself with everyone 50 Cent didn't get along with. And no matter what his issues were with 50 Cent, I didn't respect that. That was like hoe shit to me.
Yeah.
So before I like just deemed it hoe shit, when he tried to call me and invite me to participate in such activities, I initially tried to like convince him that wasn't the best thing to do. Maybe he should reconsider what he was doing, but he was so passionate in his pursuit that was like fruitless. And I remember when he was trying to convince me that I should go run off a game and hang out with him and Rick Ross and all these people that 50 was beefing with, I finally told him I'm not doing it. I don't want to hear about it. And the nigga is ace in the hole to tell me, like, look, check this out, man. 50 Cent told me he wasn't gonna put your album out a year ago. So I'm like, damn, a year ago? Whether that's true or not, it's like, my nigga, if you supposed to be my boy, how the fuck a year ago, my nigga, bottom line. So I didn't actually call him on the phone right there, but I took a very, very strong mental note that was the case. And I started analyzing the situation from that angle, and I started noticing a lot of things that weren't in my best interest. Looked up, 50 Cent then announced for the first time that he would be going live ever. And This Is 50 was a big thing that had a big countdown on the site to where you make days ahead of time, be present, 11 a.m., this date, go live, 50 Cent and G-Unit. And live wasn't as far as common as it is now.
Yeah.
And when he finally decided to go live, as you know how it works, reading questions, he's reading the question, and he is so obviously disgusted at the fact that the top questions are about me and some of his other artists.
Yeah.
And he just gives this answer that is just so disrespectful, not only to the fans who took the time to be respectful to him and be interested to ask him questions, but also to myself and the other artists that he was supposed to be invested in promoting. He just lost his whole cool. And it just showed that his CEO status was actually not one that he earned by being a good CEO. And from the things just unraveled to a point where it was just looking uninteresting. But I'm no longer affiliated with the label at all or the group, but if I have to look historically, there's never been a point where Curtis Jackson has expressed to me that our situation was over. So it was just me kind of like wondering what would happen next, if he was gonna get it together, and then he never did. I remember at one point when he was going head up with Kanye West as far as release dates, I approached him and tried to get a conversation going about getting my momentum going. And it was comical to me because, especially when I look back now, he was trying to tell me to hold back because at this point, hip hop was waiting on him to save hip hop. And if his album at this time wasn't successful, hip hop was over. And he just really said that with so much confidence, looked me in my eyes and said that shit was funny, cuz. Yeah.
What was, I'll wait till you was the game, so the game had been gone at this point?
No, not initially. Game wasn't gone when I first got there. Game was there. And see, my relationship with that situation, me and Game was fucking around for quite some time before I met the G-Unit dudes.
Yeah.
And I remember before he met them, he was frustrated with his situation at Aftermath in general with Dr. Dre. But he was fucking with Baron Davis and D-Mac.
Yep.
And they had prior relationships with Puffy. So just me being around Game on a regular basis, I remember he used to come out his mouth a lot like, I don't give a fuck. If Dre drop me tomorrow, Puffy gonna sign me. That was like a ace in the hole he kept in his pocket back then based on the niggas he was fucking with had a relationship with Puffy. So then I remember I was in LA driving around and you hear 50 Cent and G-Unit on the radio. And they like, we out here looking for the homie Game, open arms, inviting him to join G-Unit. So I remember calling Game like, hey nigga, these niggas on the radio talking about come to G-Unit, woo, woo. I remember Game response was, man, fuck that. Nigga, I'm 50 Cent, nigga, I'm Eminem. You 50 Cent, you Eminem. Nigga, they just want me on the team so they could have the whole West Coast up. Like he was not interested. But then, however, a couple weeks later, boom, Game, G-Unit, woo. And I remember being around him to the point where his energy had shifted. His sentiment went then to that 50 Cent was the richest nigga in the rap game, and he was really happy about the way he was treating him and how his album got fixed real fast. And that without knowing the exact details, I remember his sentiment changing again to where, man, I just had put too much on it. Once I realized it was all business, it's better now. I ain't expecting too much out of them. So I don't know what it was, all the specific interactions that allowed him to go through those changes, but all this was prior to his first album dropping.
Yeah.
So me, meeting Game, rap battling, and then our relationship you know, it continued on after us battling. I watched him, you know, do a lot of things as far as try to assist or promote other MCs. I've never made a request to him to include me in any of that. But however, one day I was over at the studio in Brazil, and a dude named Dougie D from New York came through. I wasn't familiar with Dougie D, but I can tell that he had Life over there, Black Friday, I think Glasses was there, and he had a few other MCs that he was anxious for this nigga Dougie D to hear. So I'm just there on some homie shit. And I watched all these niggas rap for Dougie D, and he gave feedback, positive, whoop, whoop, whoop. So without me saying nothing, I just started rapping. And the next thing I know, the nigga Dougie D was like, man, oh, you the West Coast Cool G rap? Like, oh, man, you dope. He made me go out in the car, sit in the car with him, he played me some Cool G rap. And from that point on, I started running around with Dougie D for some time. But that was the type of experience I had with Game when it came to music. It was separate. We met rapping, but it's even more ironic than that. I remember when that nigga, what niggas don't know, when he first got into it with Joe Budden and they was finna battle, I remember he called me, he was like, it's wartime, nigga, we gotta go to war, come on over here. Came to the studio, and I remember he was like, that's the first time I really can remember seeing somebody like write a lyric, record that one bar, and then come out the studio and let it play for a while and record another bar. I never helped him write the lyrics. He did the whole, that Compton song, that button, he did that shit. But he ended up doing it on his own. But prior to getting going and he was getting in the mood, he called a nigga over there. I didn't know what it was gonna turn into, a collab or not, but he ended up doing his own record or whatever. But that's how far back we was fucking around. So outside of that, he never tried to include me in no music shit. And I realized that one day he walked into a G-Unit room and I was sitting in that room without him expecting it or without him assisting me getting there, and rather him being pleased to see me there, I could tell it disturbed him. And it took, we went through a couple of incidents early on where I had to remind him, nigga, I wish you would act funny up in here, nigga, when I done got these out-of-town niggas to embrace me, nigga, and you supposed to be my nigga. And he tried to curb his attitude, but it was obvious he didn't appreciate the fact that I had arrived on a level that only he and our immediate circle had been on. He was still G-Unit though. Yeah. But every time I tried to approach him about my intentions of pursuing a career in G-Unit, he would try to downplay the G-Unit future, which looks kind of prophetic now, because he was like, man, that shit finna fall, man. You know, you can do it if you want to, but I'm finna drop my album and get on. He was like letting me know he was finna do all he did. But you know, it was real in my life. You know, so I'm saying before he wasn't dissing, he wasn't beefing. If you really go back and do your history and your research, when he did first start dissing them niggas, he would include me in a record and say something positive about me while dissing them and try to let me and everybody else know I'm on everybody's head but Spider. But we was out here G-Unit banging, you know what I'm saying? So you can't G-Unite in my city if we G-Unit. So it was just a natural clash. He and I, through mutual acquaintances and just our own personal connection, tried to keep it separate for a while, try to be cool, but the shit just got too disrespectful. And then I don't know why I started talking about that. So.
Talking about the Game, the incident where I think he was up in Beverly Hills at a hotel or something, and then allegedly,
I wasn't there, man.
You and
I've never taken an opportunity to clear the air because when I was in Hollywood and we had
you know what incident I'm talking about? Where
when they say Wack and all them was out there,
and he called Wack.
I supposed to save some. I wasn't there, my nigga.
Okay,
but for some reason Wack got it confused, or he places me there in history, and I frustrated 40 Glocc to death because he wants the credit for being that guy that was there. And he actually was, and I wasn't. But I would have been far more vocal in clarifying that point long ago. But 40 Glocc was very comfortable when we got into the incident in North Hollywood when we had Baby and Slim in them trucks. Shortly after going live, doing interviews, myself and Big Payback, rest in peace, to just tell the truth. Like, Wayne wasn't in the truck. But there was so much of a general perception on the internet that he was in the truck. 40 Glocc used to be adamant about, I don't tell them that, cut. If they want to believe in the truck, cut. Just let them believe in the truck, cut. I don't know why you tell them the truth, cut. Let them niggas do what they want to think. So I'm like, cuz, when it got down the line, when niggas thought that was me out there instead of him, I'm letting them think they want to think. I ain't correct nothing. But now I've heard it so much, and I don't really want no credit for nothing I've done good.
Yeah.
I haven't done, good or bad. And it's been asked to me now on a platform like this. I don't know nothing about that shit.
Yeah.
I ain't into saving no niggas. You know what I'm saying? Especially back then, I would have loved for that scenario to play out like that. Nigga, you would have had a whole nother story. Dead Lokes. I'm a far more evolved individual these days, but we talking about historically, nigga, it would have got cracking.